Good morning, good morning. Hola Juan, ¿qué pasa? How's everybody doing this morning? So, what do we got here? What do we have? We have overnight inventory was short, now it's long. Point of control moved up, which means we took this inventory and we moved it up here. Good distribution. What else? What else do we have going on this morning? And yesterday I was looking for 67.88 and 3/4, and we got down to, I believe it was 67.90 and change, somewhere in there. And didn't take it out. Very interesting. So the bid was here. Bids were down here, right? Market saw those bids, lifted price, and all the way back up. So we're just back and forth in yesterday's range here in the top of it. You can tell the people who got caught short here, 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 they did some covering here, ran out of supply, prices went up, as usual, market's working well. Hey, Dano, Lonigan, Tibby, Moran, good morning, good morning. So the market's functioning well. It's doing what it's supposed to. Um, Longer time frames, I'd say if we take out the high of Friday and get up to this 69.14 level, if we can take that inventory and go sell it up here, that's sort of a longer term goal. I'm really quite surprised that there's so many bids under 88. So remember, folks, if we don't get down to 67.88 on a larger time frame for big traders, we are going to do that. We have been rotating, right? We looked above 70.30, came down to 67.88, looked below and failed, couldn't take out 70.30, came back down, couldn't take out 67.88, rotation back up. So that's the target is 70.30 again. Now, what's changed is we have all this potential macroeconomic news regarding software as a services companies. So we'll see. We'll play it safe, right? So you know that there is supply above 68.94, right? That's where those big single prints come in on the way down, right? So let's see where the cookie crumbles. So it's long inventory. Let's see if we get a reaction lower when London opens. Okay, the overnight point of control was down here in the 51s. It has subsequently moved up here to 74. There's good distribution happening in our overnight range, right? If you look at the profile, we do have what we call single prints on a little short position right here. There's your short position, right? It's from 67 to 69. That's where traders are trapped short when the market took out the high of this half-hour bar, C bar. When we took that out, you'll see that every time we get close to there, there'll be bids. So if London opens, this is where you'll be looking for bids if we get any rotation lower, if that makes sense. So now we know where you are in the city. Let's go into the neighborhood where we're in. and see what's going on. We had some choppiness here, a little look below and fail of 72 3/4, right? Where are our sellers? Where are our sellers? They're going to be here, right? They're going to be right here at 76 3/4, right here at 78. So now we've got our levels set up. There's our balance. It's 50 to 57 3/4. Raj, what's up, brother? How you doing? And good distribution. So now we are in 4 times cost basis, right? Selling our goods at the market. That's what we're supposed to do, right? Take cheap stuff, sell it at a higher price. That's the business of the day. Now, I don't see a trade just yet. Let's see, let's see. Hurry up and wait. Inventory is now long. It was short, now it's long. Very good. Because the time and volume are above the close. Cool. So when inventory is long, we're looking for a move lower. When inventory is short, we're looking for a move higher. Okay. Offers are lifting. They're coming into the Walmart this morning. Let's see what kind of business they're going to do here. Slowly creeping higher. Hey, Stealth, what's up? Bit of a slow night in the store for us, but that's okay. Just kind of relax. I think there's going to be some good trading this month. Yesterday wasn't bad. Yeah, exactly. Hey, VS Squad, yeah, definitely is distribution. Definitely distribution, my friend. Yeah, yeah, as you know, we look for that look below and fail trade, so there would have been a false start here. There was a seller here at 72, it lifted. So here, if we had been in front of the screens when this had happened, this would have been a look below and fail. And remember tonight, okay, my brain's starting to work now. When you come into the market and you see these tiny little choppy candles, right? That tells you business is slow. The other thing is, so how do you use that information? Well, if you did go long, say on that look below and fail, you went long at 73 and a half, right? Or 73. let's go 73 and a half, and you put your stop here at 72 and 3/4, 72 half. Well, you kind of expect selling, right? So you expect a couple of points. You know there's going to be a seller here. You know there's going to be a seller here. So front run those sell orders, which means put your trades underneath the white lines. Very simple, so you can get out. And that way you can manage your expectations and actually get paid. Now today we have news at 8:30. Do we have higher margins today? Anyone? I didn't see an email that said higher margins. Tomorrow we've got jobless claims and Friday GDP and personal spending. I didn't get any emails on oh, it's Chinese New Year. That's right. Gung Hei Fat Choi. Yeah, could be. Could be. Right? A lot of my friends are in China are off. Hope they have a happy and prosperous New Year. Let's see. We seem to be creeping up higher. There's that seller I told you about. Yeah, it's funny. Ian posted this thing about how large firms split up orders and everything. But my God, Ian, look at this. How simple is this? If you know there's a seller there, they're going to be there again, right? I mean, how simple is that? Pretty cool, eh? You don't have to look at the DOM. You don't have to look at anything. If you know that there was a seller there before, they're going to be there again because they've got inventory to sell, right? So they will be there again, right? I don't know if you're online with us this morning, but it's so simple, right? If you know that there's going to be a seller there, they'll be there again. They're there. They're selling again. Why wouldn't they? Right? It's the same people. I think that's the thing. Once you realize it's the same people doing the same thing every day, over and over and over again, the mystery of this starts to get taken out of it, right? There's really not any mystery. They're just moving product, right? It's on all time frames, right? It never changes, right? Because if I have 5,000 contracts for sale and I sold them at 78 before, you'd be damn skippy. I'm going to be there again, hitting bids, right? Yeah, exactly. You're not going to win against Citadel because they've spent oh $20 million on their algo, and you're trading using retail software, right? They've spent what $100 million on infrastructure, data. What are their data feeds are like 200 grand a month. We pay what $50? There's just no way, right? So just be simple about it, right? And it's always been like that, right? The traders in the old days, they had a 15-minute delayed ticker. They didn't have, a telegraph machine in their office until they started getting, major bank with, a ticker tape, right? So, there's going to be sellers where there were before. Very simple, right? So simple that, it just makes your life easier to know where they're going to be. Because if you're long, you can sell a little bit before they hit you, right? We want a simple life. See, the reason why we focus on simplicity, and you'll probably be asking, JJ, why are you always talking about things being simple, right? Well, the problem is, and you guys know this, and I hate to say it, but when things start to get pressurized, right? When things start getting difficult, right? You guys fold like a card table because your plan is way too complex. Complex does not withstand pressure. And in the heat of battle, you are not going to you're not going to remember 30 or 40 different things, correlating this, correlating that. All that, excuse me, all that shit goes out the window when you get punched in the face. So have a simple plan and learn how to react when you're trading. Otherwise, right, it sounds great. You sound really smart when you talk about all these things. But when you're actually in a trade and the market is winding up and punching you in the face, you guys forget everything and panic and start adding to losers and FOMO trading and all of that stuff. All of those complexities go flying out the window as soon as you get punched in the face, right? It sounds great when you talk a big game, but when it comes down to it, you got to keep it simple. And you have to train yourself to execute when things get difficult. Because if you don't, if there's no training, and that's what I do with my traders who are in my mentoring program, I train them how to react. You got to keep it simple. You got to remember, folks, that the markets have been around for hundreds of years. How did people trade before? Right? How did you trade? If I gave you this, right? If I gave you just this and nothing else, would you be able to make money? Probably not, because you wouldn't know what to look at. What you do is you look at the offer, right? So if you were short selling and the offer went up to 78.5, came under 78, and you know that there's a seller at 78, well, you sell 77.5, right, wherever you could get a fill, and your out's going to be here, right? So if you are short here, say you're short here, this is your warning level and this is your stop. How much more simple could it be? And then once you are in that short, you better go put some buy orders down here. Because if those buy orders don't get filled, then there's no supply at that level that you're trying to buy. Once again, simple, right? The more complicated you guys make this, the more money you're going to lose. Now, if you are trading $20 million, $50 million, right? If you know what you're doing, if you're trading a big account, if you're making $10, $15, $20,000 a day, that's a different story. But most of you are just trying to get consistently profitable, right? Let's be honest. So simplicity is your friend, right? Because when the pressure comes, and it will, right, the simple trade plan works. Sometimes you see people with very simple businesses make a lot of money. Now, I know guys who are in the vending machine business, and they're millionaires, right? And they're selling candy bars out of a vending machine. But, in the UK, it's like $3 for a candy bar, right? And when people are hungry, they'll pay it for convenience. It's a simple business model, right? So for you guys, just trade where it makes sense. And where it makes sense for a retail trader to trade, my friends, is at the edge, at the edge, at the edge. Not in the middle, but at the edge, right? Yeah, and George, that's probably one of the more intelligent things I've read off X that you've quoted. Not you, but anyone has quoted. Right? There's nothing wrong with technical analysis. But if you don't understand the business of the analysis, what are you analyzing? Most people can't tell me. I go, okay, what does that mean? They're like, this crossover mean this is when you take the trade. I go, why? Explain to me the business reason why this works. Crickets. Right? Hey, Joey, no worries. No worries, man. Not a problem. See now, look how slow it is. I've got the time and sales on there as a speedometer. You're not supposed to use that to trade off. But look how slow the time and sales are moving. It trades and then it stops. And then it trades and then it stops. That means business is slow. That thing should be scrolling nonstop. That's when you get follow through. So that's what you use a time and sales for, right? To see the speed. There's a thing called speed of the tape. Right? So what are we doing? What are we doing? We're sitting and we're waiting. Nothing really worth doing now. Right? Every time you put capital out, you really want to make sure that it's worth it. You know? It's got to be worth it. Right? I'm putting capital out. Is this trade worth it? Or am I just whistling Dixie? You know? Really want to make sure that the trade is worth it. Right now, you're not getting my money. Yeah, yesterday's high, Monday's high, they're in the same area. You know, Raj, we're gonna have some selling, brother. Right? The macro winds are afoot. You know, the macro winds are afoot. Everyone's confused right now, and they're looking for leadership. So when that happens, the speculators are like, "Oh, great, right? The cat's away. We'll play," and they'll be sitting there just hammering every bid, lifting every offer, having a grand old time. Right? Rampant speculation. And then it goes slow like this. Biggest problem a lot of people have is trading when they shouldn't be. If you're a retail trader right now, you have no business trading. There's no visible discernible edge for you here, right? It's chopped, the candles are tight, the speed is slow. You can see there's nothing going on. So why would you put money at risk? Oh, I'm just going to try this. No, no, no. I'm just going to try this is not a viable business plan, right? Right? I'm just going to try this. No, don't do that. Save your money, right? It's the hardest thing because the problem is a lot of people are like, oh man, I got to go to work. I only have so much time to trade, right? You know the drill, right? I got to get this done. I got to make some money. No, that doesn't work, right? And do you ever notice when you really need money, The market always stops you out. It's always the worst, right? It's like I need to make this money. Uh-oh, I blew up my account, right? You know, it's brutal. It's almost like the market senses when we're desperate, right? It's like, like a dog can kind of smell fear. The market can smell desperation. It just reaches out and takes all your money just when you need it, right? So London's going to open now in a couple of minutes. Let's see if London corrects inventory lower. London usually likes to go lower and get some cheap inventory. It's like literally slowed to a crawl. You do make bad decisions when you get desperate, Marcus. Definitely, my brother. Right? But nothing ever good comes from it, right? Nothing good ever comes out of desperation. It's brutal. That's why you've got to just be chill. Just be chill. It'll happen. I remember when I first started retail trading, I thought it would be so easy, right? Because making markets, is just a lot of work. I thought retail would be really easy, but I had no discipline. I didn't know what a trade setup was, right? People would ask me, "What's your favorite setup?" I'd say, "The FBI agent posing as a fund manager. That's my favorite setup." I had no idea. And it took years to figure it out. Uh, I don't know about Sierra videos, my friend. Tell you the truth, I set up these charts in 2012, 2013, 2012, and I literally forget how I did a lot of it. It's been so long. No joy in Mudville for the shorts as London opens. It opens here, one tick, and straight up puts in a new high. Let's see if it comes back down again. So London obviously had some short covering to take care of. A little bit of old business there. If you're in our trading room, my chart book is available. If you come into our trading room, the trading syndicate, I post my chart book every quarter, but I never did a video on how to set it up. There's a lot of good videos out there on Sierra, but I honestly I don't remember the settings. So now we're looking for yesterday's high, and I'm assuming there's going to be a seller up there. Let's see. Well, that's the most excitement we've had for a bit. Now it's going to back off a little bit. Should find some bids down here. Where it took that K high, there should be some shorts trapped underneath 79. And you'll see when it comes down if it bids here. Just watch. Good stuff, Dano. See how we came down to 79? Now the reason why it came down to 79 and stopped and then turned and moved higher is because the people who were short here and here, they were using that K high as their stop. So when you come back to that level, you'll expect on the first touch at least to see some buy orders here. Now, how does that help you? Well, if you were short, right? If you were short, say 81, and it got down to that 79, you better cover. Otherwise, they're going to jack it right back up on you, just like that. See? Useful information, my friends. Right? You may not understand what's going on right now, but this is practical information that you can use when you're trading. Just like right now, if we take the previous day's high, we're going to run stops. Any larger term trader is going to have their stops at that previous day high. Right? And what happens is the size traders who are long at 74, they're going to sell into that 84 stop run. See? They sold into it. Now, it's going to backfill, and when it backfills, it's going to find a bid and then lift. If there's no bid, we'll come back down to 79. But if it finds a bid and it accepts over that overnight high, now those traders who are short underneath yesterday's high will be scrambling to cover. Right? So it's traded a little bit, 80, 24, 22. It's traded a little bit. Those are automatic executions because if you had your stop at 84, 84 quarter, 84 half, when the market gets there, it triggers your stop and it triggers a buy order. Right? Now, if you get continuation, now you're going to get the tire biters coming in looking for a breakout, right? So the breakout traders, I call them tire biters, like dogs who chase car tires. Right? Those breakout traders, the tire biters are going to come in now. Once they see that upward price, that gets them all excited. It's like, shaking a box of milk bones. Right? They get all excited and they start buying, which is great for wholesale longs at 74 because they get to sell into it. See what I mean? Fill them, fill them, fill them, especially on a slow night. If you got inventory, right? If you're inventory long 74, right? And you see a bunch of greedy tire biters coming in there, you just plug them, plug them, plug them, plug them. And that's why the market is now underneath the previous day high. So a trade you can take if you're a fast trader is you take a short, you put your stop here, and then you put some bids down here. If those bids don't get filled and it accepts over the previous day high, scratch your short. Does that make sense? That's why I mark the stops on a half hour so I know where the size traders, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning in New York, right? Now, if we accept over yesterday's high, that means a lot of people are short and they're coming in for it hot and heavy. So they'll scale out of their positions. The longs now who are long 74 will lift price up to 86, 87, 88. But you don't see that happening, right? Because when you run that previous day high, sold 180, 146, 146, 101, and then they just plugged it, right? Because you're waiting there with this, and if you don't sell it here, you're a fool, right? Because you've got willing buyers when those stops get run. You get the people who are short covering, and then you get all the tire biters who are chasing that breakout. And that's where you plug them. And that's why you guys have a false breakout. If anybody wants to know why false breakouts occur, that is exactly the business reason, because there's someone like me with size sitting there waiting for a market to break out. Boom, and I slam you with as much product as I can because I know you're eager to buy. Right? I'll just be blasting it out. So if I had a couple of hundred contracts to sell, right, and I was long 74, 75, 76, you show me that 83 and a quarter, 83 half, 84 bid, I'll hit those bids so fast it'll make your head spin. I don't use a footprint chart. I'm not showing any delta at all, Mario. I don't know what screen you're looking at. There's no delta. There's no footprint. It's a TPO chart. It's a time. Yeah, it's a market profile chart, and there's no delta. This is market profile, my brother. I'm sorry. This is a market profile chart. It's basically a half-hour candle chart that's a little fancy. It shows you the volume at every tick. It's not really necessary. No, it's not a footprint chart. I know what footprint charts are. I actually use one as a teaching tool, but I don't recommend people trading off a footprint chart because they don't know how to understand actual order flow. A lot of people who teach footprint charting don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. So they give people all sorts of bad information. That's why a lot of footprint traders don't actually make money, right? And delta is completely unnecessary. Right? Delta is bid-ask volume difference. So when delta is going up, they're taking the offer. When delta is going down, they hit the bid. Right? Very simple. Right? The only problem is people who trade delta and teach it don't teach you that size traders buy on the bid. So sometimes a market's going higher and delta is going lower, and people are like, "Oh, what's going on?" Well, it's divergence and convergence and flatulence and all this crap. Just use a simple candle chart. Here you can tell there's a seller right here. Seller's right here. It's plain as the nose on your face. Right? Boom, boom, they're selling here. Right? If the offer lifts above that, means the sellers have seen buyers. Right? It's very simple. We're back above the previous day high. Let's see what they got in the tickle trunk. Ooh, a little stop run again. Right? And we're creeping it higher. Creeping it higher. These are stops that are getting taken. This is forced buying. Right? This is forced buying. Right? When you run a stop, when you take out a previous day high, people who have their stops there are forced. So you'll get some forced buying, and then you'll get the tire biters, the price chasers, right? Yeah, it's a little bit of a squeeze, yeah, right? Forced buying is a short squeeze, right? Forced selling is a margin call, right? So this is a perfect, now say, Mario, say if you were long 1,000 contracts down here at 75, boy, you're just having a beautiful time. You're selling 50, 100, 50, 100, 50, 100, right? And you're selling size into this buying. It's like a gift, right? Now, where is the next level of interest? There's stops up here from the J high. Next set of stops. Everything I do makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, we don't do it, my friend. If it doesn't make sense, we have no use for it, right? If it's not practical, if it doesn't make sense, we could care less. Come into our room. I'll show you. I've got 400 videos, my friend, on how I do this, right? I have a simple 5-step method for trading. We do the same thing every morning. We look and see where the inventory is. We go do our balance zones, which is where's the cost basis, right? So you're a trader. So if you're a trader and you're trading coffee, or if you're trading pepper or salt or whatever, or if you're selling tires, right? You need to know where other people are pricing their inventory so you can be effective in the market, right? So that's the second thing we do. That's where this candle chart comes in. So there's the cost basis. This is 2 times profit. This is 4 times profit. So why do you do that? So you shouldn't be buying at the top of 4 times profit, and you shouldn't be shorting at the bottom of the discount zone, right? So we do the same thing every day, right? And if you come into our room, it's only 20 bucks. So before you stuff that Big Mac in your mouth, come into our room and we'll teach you how to do this and make a living. And in our trading room, there's no double talk, there's no BS, there's no, we don't talk about things that don't make you money, right? Very simple. I promise you, a month with us, you'll learn more than 10 years anywhere else. Because I have actually taken 200 companies public and I have traded out billions and billions of dollars worth of order flow. Well, that's up to you. If you're against buying courses, that's fine, man. Good luck. It's $20. It's not a course. It's the only trading room where you're going to get practical information, right? So, you know, it's 20 bucks, right? It's not a course. And hey, it's up to you. If you want to make money, fine. If you don't want to make money, I wish you the best. Most of you guys will watch free YouTube videos by some kid who used to work the fry station at McDonald's. Now they're a trader and they're standing next to somebody's Bugatti, and you get sucked in by that, right? And you'll look and you'll be chasing all the holy grails, right? But it's not a fancy trading room. I'm not going to be posting pictures of Lamborghinis and shit. There's actual education in there. Right? And even when I mentor people, I charge one price, and it's not a course. It's lifetime mentoring where I work with you every day until you get the concepts in your head and you learn how to execute. Just like a pilot knows what to do when they hit turbulence, you will know what to do when you're in a bad trade and how to get out of it. Right? So, yeah, think about it, man. I know $20 is a lot of money these days, right? Why am I doing this? Oh, I always get that question, right? Well, I figured I've screwed so many of you selling you stock over the last 20 years that, hey, maybe I'll get some karma credit points for this. Right? But one thing I do find, as Mark Twain says, it's a lot easier to screw people over than to help them. Because as soon as you start trying to help people, they're like, why are you doing this? It's an interesting human thing. You try and help people, and they're immediately suspicious. But if you fuck them over, they'll open up their wallet. Like sheep. Sorry, it's true. Right? What did I do to correct my discipline? Finally, a real question. Thank you, Kenneth. I worked on it every single day. To correct my discipline, I had to come up with a way that I did the same thing every single day and found a business plan and stuck to it. And it was boring and it was hard and it wasn't sexy at all. But all that stuff, it's like the kids who do their homework on Friday night before they enjoy their weekend. I was the kid who always would wait till Monday morning, right? So I had to change that. I had to do the same thing every day. I looked at chart replay. I kept notes. I journaled. Discipline, discipline, discipline. And it was difficult because I had my heart attack at 44. I had a quintuple bypass. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to learn how to retail trade. And I sucked at it. I was horrible. I was absolutely horrible at retail trading, right? And so I had to figure out, discipline, crap, right? Discipline was difficult. It did not come easy to me, right? Because when you make $50,000, $100,000 before all you guys wake up in the morning, right? You know, you cross off a block of stock, you make 2, 3 million bucks for your group before normal people even wake up in the morning. We've got $2, 3 million in cash sitting in our accounts in pre-market trading. You know, it's very hard to go from that to try and grind out a living where you can't even make a couple of $100 on a trade. So I had to discipline myself, Kenneth, and I came into this thing where I built, it's not a system, but it's a way of doing things where I have a 5-step method that I do every single day. I do it religiously. I never stray from it. And then I figured out, hey, you only take trades here, here, and here, right? Like all of this stuff you leave alone, right? You do the look below and fail or the look above and fail. In the middle here, especially at nighttime when it's not clear and you don't know where that order flow is coming, right? You just sit back and wait and you exercise discipline, right? It's a procedure, exactly. It's like Michael Jordan doing 1,000 free throws. You've been keeping your eye on the offer, and I mark where the last offer is when my candle closes. No, brother, you're doing well. Now just keep doing that and broaden your focus. See, most people, they have the attention span of a drunk firefly. And that's not your fault. We've conditioned you to do that. Scroll, 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 right? Scroll, scroll, scroll. Watch this chart for 30 seconds without looking at anything else, thinking about anything else. Watch that red line, right? Mark where your sellers are, right? Say pick a level like this, like 91.5, and see if that red line can get above it. If it can't, it means the sellers are reducing price and putting it on sale. Now the next candle is going to open in 10 seconds. Watch and see whether or not that candle opens and gets above 91.5. Watch. Or where the top of that candle is, right? So the seller moved down here. Now the sellers have moved down. See, but if you're not concentrating, these tiny little details you're going to miss. You see? So go from 30 seconds to 90 seconds. Right? I can stare at this chart for 8 hours. Right? Exactly, Redcom. Right? So I teach you the basics, and I teach you how to get really good at the basics so you don't get fooled. Right? Don't worry about the bid. We'll take care of the bid. You just worry about the offer. Right? What you guys don't know is the sellers control the market. And it's not a control thing, but the sellers set the price according to the amount of customers that are coming into the store. So if customers are leaving the store, we got a lower price, right? Remember, we will not be undersold, right? So now sellers are lowering price until they find a big buyer, and then what they'll do is they'll raise price, right? My strategy works. I've got a guy who makes $30 million a month on my strategy trading prop. So it works on a 1 minute, a 5 minute. I'm just showing you guys this because it's simple, right? If you guys can't trade a 1 minute chart, there's no way in hell you're going to be able to trade a 5 minute chart or a 20 minute chart because you're going to freeze, right? So I teach you how to think and act quickly using the 1 minute chart. So you're like fast. And then you can start using larger candles, right? The look below and fail, if you took a look below on fail on the 5th and you were long 67.90, you were selling in the 7,000s like my guy who trades prop, who has a prop firm. He's got a partnership. They trade with 1.8 billion. And he regularly clocks 10, 15, 20 million on trades. It works. It's the business. I teach you guys on a 1 minute chart because it's like teaching children how to ride a tricycle, right? You have to trade your level of ability, right? You guys have to. The problem is retail traders, their ego surpasses their skill level all the time, right? And I'm not knocking you guys. I've been there myself, where my ego is much bigger than my skill. So I'm going to hold trades and I'm going to make money on a 20-minute chart or a 15-minute chart. And this guy, he's only making 3 points here, 2 points there. But are you consistently profitable? Are you making $5,000 a day? If you are, great. But if you're blowing up accounts and you're not consistently profitable, you might want to listen and learn how to do this. It's real simple. Practice, practice, practice. Right? The reason I do the 1 minute chart is because I want you to think and act quickly, because a slow trader is about as useful as a poopy flavored lollipop. Right? So if you can't figure out what to do on a 1 minute chart and move quickly, if I put you on a 15-minute time frame, you're just going to lose more money because you don't have the skill and you haven't been trained on how to react. And that goes for me too. Right? I'm in the same category as everybody else. Now you see how the offer is lifting right to where that white line is? There's a seller there. If those sellers see buyers, they will raise price. Do you guys get what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm trying to be real. Because on YouTube, we get a lot of people who come at you and talk all kinds of poop, but they're not making any money. I will show you how to make money, and more importantly, I will show you how to keep it. Right? I trade for people who have billion-dollar net worths, who take companies public, and I'm the one who's selling stock when you guys are buying it. Right? You're diamond hands. I'm like, yeah, diamond, go. Here's another 50 million shares. Have a nice day. My clients walk away with 2, 3, $400 million on a deal. That's why I talk like this, right? It's not ego, it's experience, right? So that's the side of the business I come from, right? Where I create the charts to suck you guys in so we can hammer you with cheap stock. It happens all the time. It's a market. It's for distribution, right? So when I see questions, I have to answer them truthfully, right? Because if I pat you on the head and say, oh, yeah, you're right, and you're not right, you're going to get destroyed. That's why people don't make any money, because they don't have a trading method. They don't understand the business. How can you possibly think you're going to make money in a business that you don't understand? If you can't explain the business reason for a trade, if you can't explain the business reason for why you should get out of a trade, right? How can you hope to make any money? Come into our trading room. We'll teach you. We'll teach you with simplicity. So when you encounter a stressful situation, you're going to fold like a card table, right? That's what we do, right? So what happened here? You had a little bit of a backfill, right? You went back, filled in those buyers. Buyers came in, you raised price, right? So if you were short here and your stop was here, you got down here, you should have covered when you saw the offer lifting, right? Practical, simple information. This is what we do. We teach you how to make money and how to keep it. We teach you how to trade for income so you don't have these delusions of grandeur that you're going to make $50 million in a day, right? We teach you how to learn how to make 50, $100 a day and keep it, and then start scaling up your operation. Because, folks, you are running a small business, right? You're running a business. It's short covering. It's just short covering. right? Anyone who was short this market in the overnight, down here, they added to it here, they added to it here. Once the market took out 68.80, they're like, oh crap, right? Look where we are. Look what yesterday's, there's a reason. There's yesterday's high. So what did I say? If we take out yesterday's high and accept above it, you're going to get a lot of short covering. And that's what we got. So now we're going to try and take the position, which is at 74, and we're going to try and sell that up here using the back on the backs of the shorts. Right? It's very simple. There's no mystery in how this works. If anybody tells you this is random, they don't know what the F they're talking about. Okay? It's not random. It's a business. Right? So if you are short and it breaks 87, you should put some bids down here before yesterday's high, like bid, bid, bid. Right? So say you're short 91, right? Go put some bids down here, because if those bids don't get executed, then you know that there's no supply at that level. Right? A lot of what I teach is common sense in business. It's not a trading method. I teach you how the business works, and then I teach you how to apply your God-given common sense and some practical knowledge on where to take trades, where to put your stop, right? And how to get out of trades that are bad, right? So you're not panicking and adding to bad trades and all of those things that people do. Every day I talk to people, oh, I blew up my account. Oh, I did this. Oh, I did that. It's because they don't know what they're doing. They're like, oh, I need to go see a trading psychologist. No, you got to learn what you're doing before you need psychology, right? All the psychology in the world is not going to help you if you don't know what the hell you're doing. And if you don't understand the business, it's like going to a heart surgeon. Oh, I killed a patient. I need trading psychology. No, you need to know what you're doing, right? You need to be competent in what you're doing, and that's what we teach you in our room, right? And I'm sorry if I'm being a bit aggressive this morning, but I can see from the questions that I'm getting from people that I kind of need to be, right? Because there's a lot of really bad information out there, right? Let's get you guys profitable. There's your short position right here, right? This is what market profile, not footprint, shows you, right? So now the shorts are trapped from 79 to 89. They're going to use those trap shorts to move this position up here. That, my friends, is called distribution. Come visit us at the Trading Syndicate. I appreciate you guys. I'll always hand out the tough love. There's no BS on this channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you at 9 o'clock in the morning. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now.